Next on BGSU Brain Game, it is Elmwood versus Patrick Henry. I think we better get ready for a mental mayhem. Only one team can leave victorious. Who is it going to be? Only one way to find out. BGSU's Brain Game starts right now. And welcome to BGSU Brain Game. It is time to meet our teams. It's Elmwood versus Patrick Henry. Elmwood, tell us who you are.
I'm Thaddeus, I'm a senior. To my left is Lauren, a sophomore, and to my right is Alex, a freshman.
And who are you coached by?
You're coached by Mrs. Fawcett.
All right, welcome to Elmwood. Patrick Henry, tell us who you are.
I'm Addison Kirkland, a junior. To my right is Addison Whitman, a junior. And to my left is Isaac Badenhop, a sophomore.
You're coached by?
We're coached by Mr. Rick Fricky.
All right, welcome to both of our teams. Going to start things off with our toss-up round. There are 15 questions in this round. They're all worth 10 points apiece. No deduction for an incorrect answer, so relax, have some fun in this round. You may confer before buzzing in, but not after, and you can steal a question in this round. All right, Patrick Henry, Elmwood, are we ready? Toss-up round starts right now. Which colorful two-word phrase designates the illegal buying and selling of goods in violation of the price controls imposed by the government of a country? Elmwood, Thaddeus.
Black market.
It is known as the black market, yes. Electrically, this term describes the difference of electrical potential. In physics, it describes a force that tends to stretch or elongate a material. Identify the term that begins with the letter T. Elmwood, Lauren.
Tension.
Tension is what we needed there, yes. While Dalton's law relates to the total amount of pressure in a mixture to the particle pressures for each constituent in the mix, whose law relates the pressure inversely to volume? Elmwood, Thaddeus.
Boyle's law.
That is Boyle's law, yes. These endorsements on a passport show that a person has been approved to enter, leave, or stay in a country for an extended period of time. What are they called? Patrick Henry, Addison.
Visas.
They are visas, yes. Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay all played roles in the composition of which documents written to encourage the adoption of the proposed U.S. Constitution? Patrick Henry, Addison.
The Federalist Papers.
They are indeed the Federalist Papers. The baleen whale is named for the keratinous plates that serve to strain incoming food. Their primary sustenance is a group of organisms that have no means of mobility. That would be Elmwood, Thaddeus.
Krill.
Incorrect. Is a group of organisms that have no means of mobility but drift along with currents in the ocean. What is the collective name for these organisms? Patrick Henry, would you like to steal? That would be Addison.
Plankton.
They are plankton, yes. Name the Greek god of the sea and earthquakes. Elmwood, Thaddeus.
Poseidon.
Poseidon is correct. A synonym for narcotic. This kind of drug kills pain and is highly addictive. That would be Patrick Henry, Addison.
Opioid.
Opioids, yes. A mnemonic is a tool to help people memorize. Spell mnemonic. Elmwood, Lauren.
N-E-M-O-N-I-C.
Incorrect. Patrick Henry, would you like to steal? That would be Patrick Henry, Addison.
P-N-E-U-M-O-N-I-C.
Incorrect, but you were on the right track. You needed an M in front of it. M-N-E-M-O-N-I-C. Notice I had to look down to make sure I spelled it correctly. All right, next question. During World War II, over 3,500 of these pilots died, but approximately 20% of them managed to hit their target. Patrick Henry, Isaac.
Kamikaze.
They are indeed kamikazes. If the scale on a map equals 1 inch equals 250 miles. What is the distance between two cities that are 3 inches apart on the map? Elmwood. Thaddeus.
750 miles.
750 miles is correct. Edison's system of electricity used direct current. What engineer and inventor of the railway air brake advocated for the use of alternating current? Patrick Henry. Isaac.
Westinghouse.
Westinghouse is correct. That is all 15 questions in our toss-up round. Let's take a look at our score. Well, it doesn't get much closer than this. We have Elmwood, 50 points. Patrick Henry in the lead currently with 60 points. But things can change very, very quickly because our risk and reward round is coming up next. And welcome back to BGSU's Brain Game. It is Elmwood, 50 points. Patrick Henry, 60 points. A very, very close competition. Elmwood has decided to stay with their lineup from the last round. Patrick Henry, you've made some substitutions. Who is now on your team?
To my right is Brenton Reddig, a sophomore, and to my left is Adam Hamada, senior.
All right, welcome to our new players. This is our risk and reward round. There are 9 questions in this round. They're 10 points apiece, no deduction for an incorrect answer. On the 10th question, our teams can elect the risk or reward question. They can risk up to 30 points in 5-point increments on the risk or reward question, but there will be a deduction for an incorrect answer. All right, one team will stay in the studio, the other one will go to isolation. Let's take a look at our score. Patrick Henry, you're at 60 points, so you'll be sticking around. That means Elmwood, you are off to isolation. Patrick Henry, are you ready for your round of 9 risk and reward questions? All right, here we go. Identify the name of the compound commonly called saltpeter, whose chemical formula is KNO3. As an addition to early forms of gunpowder, it improved quality greatly. Patrick Henry. Adam.
Potassium sulfate.
Incorrect. Potassium nitrate. Potassium nitrate. Since bile is usually stored in the gallbladder, if the gallbladder is removed from the body, into which narrow muscular tube must bile pass directly from the liver? That would be Patrick Henry. Addison.
The small intestine.
It is indeed the small intestine. What do we call an error in a work of art that portrays an object or event that would not have existed in the time period being displayed? For example, a smartphone on the table in an old Western film. That would be Patrick Henry. Addison.
A fourth wall break.
Incorrect. We were looking specifically there for an anachronism. Anachronism. In the following sentence, which verb tense is used? By the end of the month, I will have learned 2 new songs on my guitar. Patrick Henry. Addison.
Future.
More specific, please.
Future participle.
Incorrect. Future perfect is what we needed there. Who did the Empress Alexandra of Russia, the wife of Russia's last Tsar, turn to for help when it was found that her son had an incurable blood disease? Adam.
Rasputin.
Rasputin is correct. In 1836, this former slave led a rebellion. Name him. Time. Nat Turner. In what year was the first transcontinental railroad completed? Adam.
1896.
Incorrect. 1869. What organ is affected by Crohn's disease? Time. That would be the colon. A bat navigates by sending out pulses of sound and then listening to how long it takes the sound to bounce back. What is the method of navigation called? Patrick Henry, Addison.
Echolocation.
Echolocation, correct. All right, it is now time for your risk and reward question. The topic is scientific terms. Patrick Henry, would you like to risk any points or would you like to pass?
We'll risk 10 points.
They are risking 10 points on scientific terms. What scientific term, beginning with the letter P, describes an organism whose body temperature changes with a change in the environment? Time. They risked 10 points. We'll find out the answer to that question at the end of this round. All right, Patrick Henry, you now stand at 90 points, and it is now time for you to go to isolation. It is now time to bring back in Elmwood. All right, welcome back, Elmwood. This is your risk and reward round. 10 points, no deduction for an incorrect answer for the first 9 questions, and then your risk and reward question. Are you ready, Elmwood? This round for you starts right now. Identify the name of the compound commonly called saltpeter, whose chemical formula is KNO3. As an addition to early forms of gunpowder, it improved quality greatly. Elmwood, Thaddeus.
Potassium nitrate.
Potassium nitrate is correct. Since bile is usually stored in the gallbladder, if the gallbladder is removed from the body, into which narrow muscular tube must bile pass directly from the liver? Time, small intestine. What do we call an error in a work of art that portrays an object or event that would not have existed in the time period being displayed? For example, a smartphone on the table in an old Western film. Time, an anachronism is what we needed there. In the following sentence, which verb tense is used? By the end of the month, I will have learned 2 new songs on my guitar. Time, I'm sorry, it was time. Future perfect is what we needed, future perfect. Who did the Empress Alexandra of Russia, the wife of Russia's last Tsar, turn to for help when it was found? Elmwood, Thaddeus.
Rasputin.
Rasputin is correct. In 1836, this former slave led a rebellion. Name him. Time, Nat Turner. In what year was the first transcontinental railroad completed? Time, 1869. What organ is affected by Crohn's disease? Time, the colon. A bat navigates by sending out pulses of sound and then listening to how long it takes the sound to bounce back. What is the method of navigation called? Lauren.
Echolocation.
Echolocation is correct. That is all 9 of your questions that are 10 points, no deduction for an incorrect answer. It is now time for the risk and reward question. The topic is scientific terms. Elmwood, would you like to risk some points or would you like to pass?
We'll wager 10 points.
10 points. What scientific term begins with the letter P, describes an organism whose body temperature changes with a change in the environment? Elmwood did not answer. We will find out the answer to our risk and reward question and find out where our team stands. It'll be revealed to both of our teams right after this. Stay tuned. And welcome back to BGSU's Brain Game, Elmwood versus Patrick Henry. We have both of our teams back in the studio. It is now time for us to reveal our score to our teams so they know where they stand against each other. We're going to start off with Patrick Henry. You have 90 points. Elmwood stands at 80 points, a very, very close competition. Both teams risked 10 points on the risk and reward question. The question was, what scientific term beginning with the letter P describes an organism whose body temperature changes with a change in the environment? Neither team were able to give an answer, but the correct answer was poikilothermic is what we were looking for there. Let's adjust our scores. We have Elmwood is going to be at 70 points. Patrick Henry is at 80 points, still a 10-point difference between both of our teams. And that can change very, very quickly because coming up next is our category round where questions are worth as much as 30 points, but deductions start. Stay tuned. And welcome back to BGSU Brain Game. Some mental mayhem going on because it is Elmwood at 70 points. Patrick Henry at 80 points, a very, very close competition. Elmwood, looks like you've decided to make a substitution for this round. Who's joined your team?
To my right is Emily, a freshman.
All right, welcome to Emily. Patrick Henry sticking with their lineup from the last round. This is our category round. There are 6 categories in this round with questions worth 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 points. But deductions start now. Dum, dum, dum. You go for 20, you can lose 20 points. We also have a hidden double or nothing question. That means you get double the points. If you get it wrong, no deduction for an incorrect answer. You may confer before buzzing in, not after. Okay. Elmwood, since you're at 70 points, you get to make the first selection.
So Proverbs for 20.
Proverbs for 20 points. Complete these famous proverbs. Actions speak louder than Elmwood. Thaddeus.
Words.
Words is correct. Elmwood in control.
Proverbs for 15.
Say again.
Proverbs for 15.
Proverbs now for 15 points. Money is the root of Elmwood. Thaddeus.
All evil.
All evil is correct. Elmwood in control, taking the lead.
Proverbs for 25.
Proverbs for 25. Haste makes Elmwood. Thaddeus.
Waste.
Waste. Yes. Elmwood in control.
Proverbs for 10.
Proverbs for 10 points. Curiosity killed Patrick Henry. Addison.
The cat.
And that makes me sad. Yes, the cat. Patrick Henry in control.
Proverbs for 30.
Proverbs for 30 points. Make hay while the... That would be Patrick Henry. Addison.
Sun shines.
The sun shines. Yes, Patrick Henry in control.
Square roots and exponents for 10.
Square roots and exponents for 20 points. This is our double or nothing question, open to both teams. What is the square root of 625? That would be Patrick Henry. Adam.
25.
25 is correct. That is a double or nothing. You get double the points and control the board.
Square roots and exponents for 25.
Square roots and exponents for 25. What is 8 to the 3rd power? Patrick Henry. Adam.
256.
Excuse me?
256.
Incorrect. Elmwood, would you like to steal? That would be Emily.
512.
512 is what we needed there. Elmwood in control.
Square roots for 15.
Square roots for 15 points. What is 2 to the 5th power? Patrick Henry. Adam.
32.
32 is correct. Patrick Henry back in control.
Square roots and exponents for 30.
Square roots, exponents for 30 points. What is the square root of 2,500? Patrick Henry. Adam.
50.
50 is correct. Patrick Henry takes the lead. In control.
Square roots and exponents for 10.
Square roots, exponents for 10 points. What is the square root of 256? Patrick Henry, Adam.
16.
16 is correct, and in control is Patrick Henry.
African capitals for 10.
African capitals for 10 points. Egypt. Elmwood, Lauren.
Cairo.
Cairo is correct. Elmwood back in control.
Science for 15.
Science begins with G for 15 points. Identify each of the following science terms that begins with the letter G. The natural force that tends to cause, that will be Elmwood. Lauren.
Gravity.
She calls gravity, and she is right. In control is Elmwood. Making a move.
Science begins with G for 20.
Science begins with a G for 20 points. A reproductive cell, such as an egg or sperm. That will be Patrick Henry. Adam.
Gamete.
Gamete is correct. Patrick Henry back in control.
Science for 25.
Science for 25 points. A complete set of cells that contain all the genetic traits of, that will be Patrick Henry. Adam.
Gene.
That is incorrect. That would be Elmwood. Would you like to steal? That would be Thaddeus.
Genome.
Genome is correct. All right. Elmwood in control.
Let's go historical woman for 20.
Historical women for 20 points. What seamstress is credited with making the first, that would be Patrick Henry. Brenton.
Betsy Ross.
Betsy Ross is correct. In control is Patrick Henry. And we're tied.
Historical women for 15.
Historical women for 15. What Native American woman persuaded her father, Chief Powhatan, that would be Elmwood. Thaddeus.
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas is correct. Elmwood takes control and the lead.
Historical woman for 25.
Historical women for 25. What Wild West sharpshooter starred with Buffalo Bill in his Wild West show? That would be Patrick Henry. Addison.
Annie Oakley.
Annie Oakley is correct. Patrick Henry back in control and in the lead.
Historical women for 30.
Historical women for 30 points. Getting close to our final questions here. What Shoshone woman helped guide Lewis and Clark on, that would be Patrick Henry. Adam.
Sacagawea.
Sacagawea is correct. Patrick Henry in control.
Science for 30.
Science for 30. Science begins with G for 30 points. The glass apparatus with a long beak useful for measuring fluids in the science laboratories. That will be Patrick Henry. Brenton.
Graduated cylinder.
Graduated cylinder is correct. Patrick Henry in control.
African capitals for 15.
African capitals for 15 points. Down to our final questions. Libya. Patrick Henry. Brenton.
Tripoli.
Tripoli is correct. Patrick Henry still in control of the board. 4 questions to go.
African capitals for 25.
African capitals for 25 points. Nigeria. That would be Patrick Henry. Brenton.
Lagos.
Incorrect. Elmwood, would you like to steal? Time. Abuja is what we needed there. Patrick Henry, you're still in control of the board.
African capitals for 30.
African capitals for 30 points. Ghana. Patrick Henry. Brenton.
Accra.
Correct. Patrick Henry, make the final selection.
The human leg for 20.
The human leg for 20 points. Final question in this round. What is the scientific name for your kneecap? Patrick Henry. Adam.
Patella.
Patella is correct. Let's take a look at our score, folks. We have Elmwood, 220 points. Patrick Henry currently in the lead with 330 points. Still anybody's game between these two teams, because coming up next is our Brainstorm Round. Each question, 20 points, negative 20 points for an incorrect answer. Anybody's game. Stay tuned. And welcome back to BGSU Brain Game. It is Elmwood 220 points, Patrick Henry 330 points. Still anybody's game. Elmwood has decided to make a final substitution. Who is on your team?
To my right is Madison, a sophomore.
All right, welcome to Madison and all of our returning players for this final Brainstorm Round. All the questions in this round are worth 20 points. Negative 20 points for an incorrect answer. You have been warned. You may confer before buzzing in, not after. If you do, you will lose 20 points. You cannot, I repeat, cannot steal in this round. All right, Patrick Henry, Elmwood, are you ready? Brainstorm round starts right now. This is the third largest island in the South China Sea. Its name begins with the letter B. Patrick Henry, Brenton.
Busan.
Incorrect. Borneo. What title was given to the emperors in Russia? Patrick Henry, Brenton.
Czar.
They were known as czars. What word is used to describe the goal of the Buddhist path? Elmwood, Thaddeus.
Enlightenment.
Incorrect. Nirvana. What creatures do ichthyologists study? That would be Patrick Henry. Addison.
Birds.
Incorrect. Fish. A change in the frequency of waves, including sound and light, as the object and or the observer move closer or further away is called the what? Patrick Henry. Adam.
Doppler effect?
It is indeed the Doppler effect. The island of Molokai was once used as a place to segregate people with this disease. Leprosy. If your property measures 4,840 square yards, how many acres do you own? One. What is the subject of the following sentence? It was the worst weather Nora had ever seen. Elmwood, Thaddeus.
Nora.
Incorrect. Weather. The Great Depression began in what year with a huge, Patrick Henry, Adam?
1929.
1929 is correct. Who was the first president to be born in the United States? Patrick Henry, Adam?
Martin Van Buren.
Correct. The Japanese poetic form haiku always has how many syllables? Patrick Henry, Adam?
13.
Incorrect. 17. In physics, what do we call how fast an object is moving and in what direction? Elmwood, Lauren.
Velocity.
Velocity, yes. What is 20% of 15,000? Patrick Henry, Adam.
300.
Incorrect. 3,000. Let's take a look at our score. Elmwood, 200 points. Patrick Henry is our winner with 330 points. Let's give both of these teams a big round of applause. In the spirit of good sportsmanship, let's meet in the middle, shake hands, and we'll see you at the next BGSU Brain Game. Come on out, get some TV time, everybody.